Coming up, is this the best budget chronograph money can buy? Let's find out.
You know what you're gonna be? Blasted.
Hello and welcome back to Automatic Reviews. I'm Mark. Hide your wallets because this week's review is of the insanely good Militado ML1868 Chronograph, and wow guys, get ready to consider buying a new watch. I'm so sorry. Before we get to that, I just want to thank you guys for sharing your thoughts in the comments. It really does mean a lot to me. And for anyone new around here, I want to let you know that my goal is to review the best watches at all price ranges. And if that sounds good to you, consider hitting that subscribe button. And while you're at it, tap the bell icon too, so you can be notified each week when my latest video goes up. I'll also mention that while this video wasn't sponsored, even if it was, I'll always tell you what I really think. All right, now let's take a look at this watch. Here's a quick look at the unboxing. Inside the outer packaging, you'll find a pretty nice synthetic carbon fiber zippered travel case. Very useful packaging. The watch is tucked away safely inside, further wrapped in some plastic and foam. In the side compartment, you'll find a pretty decent strap tool, an operating manual, and a warranty card. Militado watches come with a 2-year warranty. The 316L stainless steel case features a matte bead blasted finish. This watch is 39mm across and 12.3mm thick, including the crystal. Lug to lug, it's 46.5mm, and the lug width is 20mm. It has a screw-down case back with a Militado logo etched into it. It also has a bead-blasted, screw-down, unsigned crown flanked by similarly finished chronograph pushers on either side. Running the show is the reliable Seiko VK67 Mechaquartz chronograph movement with an expected 3-year battery life. The watch features both BGW9 and retro lume. Here's a quick lume shot. The dial has a smooth matte black surface. The logo, indices, numerals, and chapter ring are all painted on cleanly. The hour and minute hands are polished lume swords with syringe tips. And the main chronograph hand is a lumed arrow with a red tip. There are 3 subdials, all of which feature polished silver hands. The top subdial is a slightly sunken chronograph minute counter. It totals up to 60 minutes. The left subdial is flush with the dial surface and picks up where the top dial leaves off, keeping track of the elapsed chronograph hours for up to 12 hours. The bottom subdial is sunken like the top one and serves as a running seconds counter with that classic once per second quartz tick. The crystal protecting the dial is sapphire with an AR coating, and to my eye it appears to be very slightly double domed. Water resistance is 100 meters. The included strap is a green NATO. There were a few other color options, but I chose this green one due to how well it suits the military aesthetic. The strap features blasted hardware which matches the watch case nicely. Here it is on my flat profile 7-inch wrist. On this NATO strap, it weighs 71 grams. This watch retails for 137 Canadian, which works out to about 99 US dollars, and that is absolutely worth the money, but I got this one on sale for about 109 Canadian or about 79 US, and I mean, like, that's even better. So I always recommend checking out sales. Okay, for the lows, I mean, like nothing really. I genuinely think a watch like this could cost 3 times what they're charging for it and still be an extremely great deal. I can't call out actual genuine lows here. It's the same like with the Militado ML05 and the Tendorio Identity Crisis. If you watch my reviews of those, I did the same thing. I just moved on to the mids. I think for when you consider the value for money here, I think calling out lows just doesn't really make much sense. These watches are pretty incredible and they're not going to be perfect for around $100 or under $100. So yeah, let's talk mids. Just like the strap that comes on the ML05, this one is cheap feeling and too small. Yeah, I think it's the exact same strap as a matter of fact. It would fit wrists under 6.5 inches. I think you could have enough extra slack, but if your wrist is anywhere near 7 inches or above, you just won't have enough extra material to fold over like you normally do with a NATO. So that's definitely not great. And, you know, the strap in general, even if it fits you, I would still recommend buying a replacement that's just more comfortable and more premium feeling, it would be worth it. But for this price, they spent all the money on the watch head itself, so I can't blame them. This is a mid. Some may dislike the asymmetrical dial, and there would have been a time years ago when I would have agreed with that, but when your collection of watches starts to grow a little bigger, you often start to see things that stray from your preferences as opportunities rather than deal breakers. You get to add watches that look different, and that's a positive thing for a collection. So, I think that when you give something a try that you think you might not like, oftentimes you end up liking it. So I think that's the case here as well, but some people will never like an asymmetrical dial, so I'll call it a mid. At 39 millimeters across and just over 12 millimeters thick, this watch is a really reasonable size for a chronograph. It makes our expectation that chronographs will automatically be oversized seem unreasonable. They can be made in compact formats like this, and I think it's perfection. The disappointment of the NATO strap aside, this watch otherwise wears incredibly well. The size, shape, and angle of the lugs are perfect. There are 0 hot spots, and the weight is light and almost makes you forget you're wearing it, but in a good way. This piece wears like a watch you've had for over 10 years within seconds of putting it on. The crown of this watch is really large, but not comically so. It just looks cool. It has an amazing grip and it screws down incredibly smoothly. Shockingly smoothly, actually. I've seen worse screw down crowns on watches that cost 100 times as much. The same actually applies to the pushers. They operate really well and have that divisive screw down feature that many people abhor on chronograph pushers. That said, there's 0 compromise on water resistance, which is a bonus, and the operation of the screw down function is really smooth and pleasant. I recently reviewed a meca-quartz chronograph with a running seconds, a 60-minute counter, and a 24-hour time dial. I really don't prefer that function set. This watch elevates the experience so much by replacing that 24-hour time dial with a dial totaling the number of elapsed chronograph hours. You can start timing a project, screw the crown back down to preserve that 100 meters of water resistance, and ensure the timing won't be interrupted by an accidental button press, and then get an accurate measure of up to 12 hours. It just takes this watch to another level. A 60-minute chronograph is useful for timing eggs or something like that, but one that can time up to half a day can be a tool that will genuinely impact your day-to-day and serve as an aid for planning and executing large-scale projects. It's really useful. The dial is quite clean for the money. Even the hands have relatively little dust and debris on them when viewed with the naked eye. The running seconds hand under intense macro scrutiny looks pretty dirty, but you'll find similar on significantly more expensive watches when breaking out the macro lens. This is the kind of watch that makes me relax. I can look pretty closely at this watch without uncovering one horror after another. Some people say macros don't matter, but your brain is subconsciously registering a lot of the sloppy work found on some watches and making the dial less relaxing to look at. For companies that care like Militado, you look at the dial and your eyes just feel at ease. And I believe the macro lens shows us why that is. It's not finding things we don't see, it's explaining to us why we feel the way we do when we look at the watch with our naked eye. A Grand Seiko is a perfect extreme example. Those watches are so gorgeous and relaxing to look at for the same reason that macros of those watches are so impressive. It all begins with those building blocks. Anyway, this watch offers some pretty nice details for the price. That's a high. I wouldn't want every single watch to have a blasted finish, but I have to say I really do appreciate this sort of finish, especially on a military-themed watch like this one. This watch looks tactical and just really cool. The finish isn't precious or a fingerprint magnet. This watch is 100% a tool. That alone has an inherent beauty. When function defines form, that takes on an aesthetic joy all of its own. Like when you see a really nice Jeep or some other military-style vehicle. They were designed with function at the forefront, but you just can't deny that they look amazing. This watch has that sort of vibe to it too. Another surprise here, the lume is super bright. On top of that, it's applied in this bicolor configuration and it manages to look quite unique and eye-catching in the dark. I really like it. The value for money on these Militado watches has so far consistently impressed me, but wow, this one has set the bar even higher. I just can't tell you how impressed I am by this watch for the price you pay for it. This is a well-made watch, period. Not just for the money, it's just generally a good watch. So when you consider the price you're actually paying for it, the value is off the charts here, guys. So I started with a question. Is this the best budget chronograph money can buy? Okay, well, in fairness, I haven't tried every single budget chronograph, so it's difficult to say with absolute certainty, but I have tried a lot of them, and what I can tell you is that if there's one out there that's better than this one for the same or less money, I'd be quite surprised. This watch is absolutely superb. I'm honestly quite smitten. It's giving me new watch honeymoon vibes in a way that very few watches this inexpensive can manage. If you love budget watches, then yeah, consider getting this. If you love watches in general, this would be a good purchase. But if you're in the market for a meca-quartz chronograph right now, this is the time. Like, I would say this is the watch I would recommend at this moment more than any other one. Like, it's just such a good deal. It's such a great watch. But there's also another category of person I would strongly recommend this watch to. And it's if you're watching this and you've never actually tried a budget watch like from a Chinese manufacturer, sort of the AliExpress experience, like, you know, but you're skeptical but intrigued, and you're sort of at that tipping point where you really want to try one. In my opinion, this is the absolute perfect place to start. I have some nice watches at all price ranges. I mean, I own a Speedmaster, guys. Like, that's what I'm wearing right now. And this is going to be going in my watch box right next to it. This watch is so good. Just remember to pick up a replacement NATO because, you know, if your wrist is over 6.5 inches, you'll have pretty much no choice. But even if it isn't, just spend the $5 on AliExpress and treat yourself to a better experience. But other than that, I have pretty much literally no complaints. For the money, I have zero complaints. And even, you know, if it was more expensive, I'd have very few nitpicks. It's just such a good watch, genuinely. So what about you? What do you think about this watch? Do you have one? Do you want one? Is there a meca-quartz chronograph that you think competes with this one? I want to hear about it, guys. Let me know in the comments. All right, that's it. That's all. Remember to check the description for any relevant links, like where to find my Instagram. Yes, I do have an Instagram. I just rarely mention it, and I have almost, I haven't done a lot with it over the years. So I could use a little love. So if you could go over there and give me a follow, I would appreciate it. Other than that, till next time, guys, bye-bye.